Hello, everybody. Welcome to our third edition of OPP. T, how you doing?
Good, man. Good morning.
Yeah. Well, before we introduce our guest today, got a few little housekeeping things just to go over, but definitely excited about our guy. We had a quick little meeting and we got some pretty good stories lined up. What do we got? Scholarship award winners were picked. We had 31 that were selected. Originally, we got 30, but we did 31 because we had a tiebreaker. Thanks to all that have applied. We just had under 100. So we had 95 people reach out for scholarships. So that was great. Reminder, SPAC 70th anniversary is coming up January 22 to 25. Should be a good one. Looking forward to that. Exciting news on the vendor side. All booths are now sold out. They went fairly quick. We are moving to a different exhibit hall. If everyone remembers last year where we had lunch, it was a bigger venue. So we've moved the vendors to that section now. There's a different layout. Hallways are bigger, more booths in there. Some people got bigger booths. They upgraded what level they were on. So unfortunately, booths are sold out, but that's a good problem that we have. Looking forward to that. Had a few questions also come in. Next week, we're going to launch the agenda, the speakers, and also have the Hoover app ready to download. There should be a link coming out in the next week. And also in November, we should have some more information on the 70th Gala, the golf thing that we have set up, and also an excursion that we're going to do. So that's housekeeping for today. We could briefly introduce our guy T. We've known this guy for a while, eh?
Yeah, kind of like a staple in the industry, and I guess the best way to describe him is like kind of the first person that you catch up with when you get to SPAC. Someone that we've known for a long time and have kind of like seen the full gamut of what this fellow is about, but just a legend in on the SPAC scene for sure.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. First guy that you'll see when you come to the registration desk there. So why don't we bring him in?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Whoa!
Look who it is.
Nice introduction. Thank you.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth. You're literally the first person that we get to see, the first person to catch up with, and the first person to, like, you always ask, not just about work, but like, how's family? And you've always been a pretty good guiding light in so many ways, good and bad, for like what's going on in life. So it's awesome to sit and chat with you.
Oh, nice. Happy to be here and appreciate all the support from the photographers.
You bet. You're a busy guy. Like, I guess the first thing is, what are you up to?
Right now, I'm painting.
Yes.
I'm selling a townhome, and so I need to paint it and get it on the market. What am I up to now? We've we're still doing the viewfinder mask for the DSLRs. Our solution for the mirrorless cameras, we have an overlay over the LCD that has a line supply and fills in for the manufacturers, Canon, Nikon, who don't have the lines in their cameras.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's
and something that we've been using forever.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's I think it's like an industry standard.
Yeah, it is. I kind of took over the industry. I spent people don't know my history. And I said I'm the first person they see, but I go back. I used to repair before this business of the viewfinder masks. I had a camera repair shop, and I was repairing long roll cameras, the medium format cameras, for a lot of the same people that are still in the group now. And among them was Gary Krantz. And I think that was kind of my introduction into the whole group. I was repairing cameras for Krantz, I think, just before he got into the school of photography, or about the same time.
So that was like 1940s?
You're an
Sure.
ageless
I'll
wonder,
get there one
Scotty.
day too. I'm going to be around to jazz you about how old you are. Sorry, you were kids. You were toddlers.
Yeah, we were definitely.
Yeah. We've known you for a long time. Yeah, I think that was the key thing though. Like, I don't even think we know the whole history of how you became like literally the person at check-in that's got like the first things to kind of show you what's going on in the industry. Like, how did it all start?
So I was doing repairs specifically for medium format and large format, long roll cameras and studios. And digital photography came around.
Yeah.
And I knew they needed to have it put into the camera, but I wasn't all jazzed about doing it. But then, like the camera repairs, everybody, like if you were shooting film, your Hasselblads, Chronicles, and Mamiya's, and everybody was thinking about going digital, just like they've been thinking for years about going to mirrorless, but they hold off until they feel comfortable. And so they stopped getting their secondary lenses because everybody had 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 systems, Hasselblad systems, and they would stop getting them repaired because eventually they were going to move over to digital. So my business started falling off, and I'm like, well, okay, what am I going to do? So I was doing trade shows for the camera repairs, and I was trying to push the lines in the cameras, but nobody seemed too interested. So one day I had a trade show and I decided to go out as the viewfinder mask guy, and it took off from there. I was doing sensor cleanings and viewfinder masks, and everybody was like, yeah, we need this. So after that, I met a guy, Joe Cullen. He used to work for Fuji. And he's like, oh, you got to go down to Texas. So I called Texas. This is an interesting story. Yeah. So I called Doug Box. You may know who he is.
No, I don't.
And he's like, and it's like, oh, I thought it was a week before the trade show. It was 2 weeks before the trade show. And so he says, oh, I just happen to have a booth that opened up last night. And it's on the corner. It's $800 and it's in 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, I got to think about it. So I hung up the phone. And then I realized, as you know, if you don't take a booth when it opens up, you're going to lose it. So
exactly. Stuff goes quick.
This is before cell phones. So the phone slams and I pick it back up, call back, take it. And he takes the phone call. I said, I'll take the booth. And I go down there and everybody was interested. I did a ton of business. I was back. I had brand new business.
What year was that?
1945. I can't even tell you. It had to be like 26 years ago, something like that, 27 years ago.
So like late 90s.
Yeah, it was late 90s.
Yeah.
So then I started advertising as a viewfinder mask guy. But that time I was just putting in 8x10 lines. And I was trying to figure out a way to make the Miriam mask and all the other masks, the ovals and everything. And it took me a while to get it figured out. And one of my customers called me and he said, hey, he goes, we've got 13 cameras and we need this, we need our mask. It's still one of the most complicated masks that I make. And it was the first one that I had to make. I was like, okay, well, I had come up with a solution to making them. And so I said, give me a week. I sourced all the equipment that I needed, bought it, and got it in. And I don't know how, but it actually worked. I got the screens made. And then I was in business doing it as what you know me as now with the Marion mask, the ovals, the chin cups, everything else, and the sensor cleanings. And the sensor cleanings came from doing camera repairs 30 years before that. Wow. So,
yeah.
And I think people were comfortable with me because I made them feel comfortable dropping off their cameras. And I did the work perfectly and, did the job that people wanted, got it done on time, showed up, supported SPAC and all the school photographers. Because in the beginning, they didn't have any trade shows for event photographers. No. So I was doing the first 2 or 3 years, I was doing 30 to 35 trade shows a year, seeking out school photographers because I knew they were there.
Yeah, weren't you doing the sensor cleanings like on the floor?
Yeah, I was doing them there too. I was
Yeah,
doing
you're just sitting on the floor.
and yeah, it was crazy. So there was this one really large customer. I love this story. And I had made a bunch of screens, and I'm like, I wanted to get this customer on board. And so what I would do is I would take all my mistakes of the screens that I made, and I'd put them out on the table so people could actually see what I was doing and how I was making the screens. And that gets them interested. So I made one of the screens for this company, and I threw it out among the other ones. And back then, you knew who they were because they were the suits, right? They dressed differently from everybody else because they're a big corporate, so they had an image to keep. Yeah. And I saw a guy walk by, and he looked at the table, and he scanned it, and he like zeroed in on that screen. That was his company's screen, and he picked it up, and then we had a small chat, and never did get his business.
Oh no!
Yeah, he wanted me to give it away.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Yeah, can't do it. If I give it away and it was the early years, if you give it away in the beginning, you're going to give it away to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't start off that way, right?
No. Then he's like, well, and then we had a chat. Well, this is interesting. We had a chat about the dust that gets on your sensors. And he says, where do you think the dust comes from? I go, well, truthfully, it's not falling in when you take off your lenses. I said, it's being transferred in from lint that's on the body caps or the back of the lenses. And I said, when you mount the lens onto the camera body, some of that dust falls off. And when the mirror would go up on the DSLRs, it would blow that dust backwards because there's nowhere else to go as the shutter opened. And I said, so it's mostly lint, pocket lint, dust from your case. And I said, and some manufacturing dust. And he said to me, he goes, that's absolutely right. We had it analyzed. So it's true. And he said, he says, would you be interested in doing our sensor cleanings? I go, no. I go, if I do the sensor cleaning, something's going to screw up and you're going to get a piece of dust in there and I'll never get your mask business. So I'm going to decline on that. And that's when I was starving.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. The early years, there wasn't any money coming in. So
yeah. But the foresight for you to turn that down for the future.
What's that?
I said the foresight for you to turn that down, knowing what could possibly happen in the future.
Yeah, I didn't know. So It all worked out.
You touched on something there, the Marion mask. I know that maybe talk about that. How it started, and I think it's the most popular mask, right? Yes, it is. The early days,
the film guys, the guys that came up from long roll cameras, they all used the chin cup or an oval or a rectangle or a box. They didn't really use the Marion mask. And I had made that mask and I carried some of them with me, but nobody seemed interested in them. And then Marion Hughes, which kind of everybody who's in the business knows, he's been around since longer than any of us.
Yeah.
And he's like, Scott, he goes, you got to make a whole set of these of the chin line masks because that's going to be the mask of the future. I'm like, Marion, I really don't want to do that. Nobody wants to buy them. He goes, they're going to buy them. And so I was sitting there for a week making all these masks, cursing him out because I didn't want to carry a whole new set of lines. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call it the Marion mask because he owns this. And that's how we got to the Marion mask. And he pushed it. He's the one who got that one out there, I think, more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because the old guys, the old timers, they just wanted the head straight forward, take the picture, be done with it. And the newer crop of photographers wanted to turn the head left and right. And if you had the chin cup, the head would stay to the left or to the right, depending on which way it would be off center. And the Marion mask has two lines on either side of the ears, so you can keep the head and body centered. So it made sense.
Got it. Yeah. Have you ever? I've heard a few people call Marion Photo Yoda.
Yeah, he is. And he has the part too. And he's got a very nice grayscale card to balance your camera. You guys should look it up. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, enough selling there, Scott.
Yeah. We want more stories from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every time we see you, you're like half the time heads down working on something, and like constantly got people coming to you. And like how did you end up behind the desk?
Yeah, you got the sweet spot.
That is a coveted position.
Yes, it is, and it's upset a lot of the other vendors, understandably. The thing for me was people bring their cameras to me, and they were bringing in most of the years up until the mirrorless time. I had a lot of cameras that were just sitting around, and you know, there's a security issue for that.
Yeah.
There's also that I couldn't get all the work done within the trade show hours.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so the issue was with your dad and Kranz, and they were like, well, why don't we just put him up in the front? Then he can work all day long. People and we can, of course, you can sell another booth. Yeah. And so that's how it ended up. That's basically how it ended up there.
That's what our dad and Gary told you, but really they didn't trust you with the cameras. So they wanted to keep an eye on you, really.
Yeah.
And they wanted to sell another booth. So yeah.
Yeah, they like the idea, but the problem was I couldn't get all my work done. And one year, I just pulled up a table in the hallway between the rooms and was doing the work out there because it was like, okay, I'll just do it here.
Yeah.
And then somebody from SPAC got upset with me, and then that's how it ended up that they said, okay, let's put them up in the front, which worked out for everybody. It worked out well for me.
Yeah, it worked out good. Yeah. I think it's a cool concept too, right? That like people could bring their camera, drop it off, get the sensor clean, get the mask put in, and then by the time they leave the conference, you got the thing done.
Well, and that's it. But, you know, they don't have to ship their cameras.
Yeah.
You know, back and forth. They don't like doing it. They'll do it. They don't like it. But they understood the service that I was providing because I'm kind of the only one who does a service like that. Yeah. Now, my business is a little different than everybody else. I'm like I'm a one-time shot. I for every camera you buy, maybe you put a screen in it. I don't get residual like labs and stuff like that. It just comes in one time. So it's just got to get done at the moment. And it worked out for everybody. And they understood that. They understood how valuable it was to have the lines into the cameras because they understood how much time it saved in the workflow and the savings to the bottom line because they weren't resizing all the images.
Yeah.
They were doing it in the camera.
It's like you need to be blessed by Scotty before you really get into the photography.
Oh, yeah, that's actually true. From the crack business. Yeah. Once you get the lines put in, you always want to get them in your new cameras. It's kind of hard to live without them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself like, someone that blesses people or someone that gives them the crack?
You know, there's got to be a big word in there.
Yeah. Isn't the first one free?
Never. The first one's never been free.
How many red vines do you think you eat during that conference? Like you got that whole tub just killing those things.
You know, people love red vines. You love them. And it's interesting. Candy at a trade show is very interesting. I don't know if people ever talk about this.
No.
When I was doing all the different trade shows in the early years, there was a whole variety of candies that were easy to come by. And I would buy a whole variety of cameras, like the Pixie sticks. You guys remember? I don't know if you're old enough to remember those.
Yeah. Come on now.
But Red Hots and all different kinds of candy. And people would come to that bowl and pick out specific types because it almost is like their personality. It's a reflection of the personality. And it also gives you a way to talk to people. Oh, you like those? Yeah, I remember those. Those are great. But yeah, people are very particular about their candy, and it takes them back to their childhood, and it makes them happy. But red vines, back to the red vines.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the red vines.
Yeah. I think I only eat red vines every year in January 22 to 25. That's the only time I eat them.
kind of something else that's super appealing about you is, and Mike knows all about it, but definitely the choice of colors and patterns and just clothing in general. Like, without question, one of the most stylish men on the floor.
Yeah. Talk about guys walking around in suits having an image. That's you now. You're that guy.
I go back and forth with that. Some years I'm not feeling the jacket, sometimes just a t-shirt and blue jeans. But really, it's still the t-shirt and blue jeans with just a jacket thrown on.
Yeah.
It's always worked, though. It's always worked. Where did it come from? What's the inspiration?
Well, you always kind of want to dress nice.
Yeah.
You know, you think you do, especially in the early years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, in regular jackets, they just suck. They're just boring as hell. And I know the one you're talking about.
Can you tell?
Tell us about the jacket.
Okay. Geez. The Mossman jacket, right?
The Mossman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was a jacket. And the story behind that was I had gone out I was living in Southern California. And I had a friend visiting from Europe. And we went to Palm Springs to service a long roll camera for a customer of mine. And on the way back, she wanted to stop and buy clothing at the outlet stores. And Armani was one of them. So I go into the Armani store with her and I'm looking around and there's this crazy jacket. Like I've never seen one like it. It was a velvet jacket. And I'd never seen one like it. And I try it on. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it fits pretty good. And I think it was like a $2,500 jacket. And it was marked down to $500, $595 or $495. And I was like, I don't know, this is pretty far out there. Not really sure about this. And she bought some stuff. We went back. And by the time I got home, I'm like, we're going back there tomorrow. I'm buying that jacket. And it's kind of hard to explain what it was, but it was velvet. And if you've ever seen an old velvet couch that's really worn out, it's missing some of the velvet on it. And this jacket was kind of like that. It had a black cloth underneath, and they made it so some of the velvet was missing, so the black would show through. Mm-hmm. And it was like an olive drab with a silvery color to it. And literally every time I wore that jacket, at least 25 to 30 comments, people just walking by. People would come up to touch me and rub my shoulder. And it transcended every socioeconomic barrier there was, because it didn't matter who you were. One day I'm on the plane and these three like very large rappers come on with the gold clothes, and it's like midnight and they got their black sunglasses on. You can't see through them. One of them stops and he's like, rubs my jacket. Goes, that's a cool jacket, man. And I was backstage and some guy was driving a truck, a lift truck, and he stops. And he's like, hey, that's a really nice jacket. Old ladies would come up to me. Young girls would come up to me, touch it. Everybody would say something. You guys in particular loved that jacket.
We loved it. We loved it.
You decided you should call me the Mossman.
Mossman. Yeah.
Reminded you of Moss.
Mossman, yeah. Actually, a story on our side is I remember one time we were had a meeting back at the studio, and some images were coming in and they were like all crooked and everything. And John, he freaked out and he's just like, just get Mossman on the phone. What are those freaking masks? He couldn't even remember your names. It's like, just get Mossman.
Yeah, and that was always the problem for photographers is stuff came back wrong, then somebody had to fix it. When you're paying somebody twice to do the same job, why not pay the photographer to shoot it right in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, we even tried to campaign you to change your name to Mossman Masks, but you stayed with Viewfinder Masks.
Well, it turned out that I came home to my parents, and I left the jacket at my parents, and months later when I returned, somebody had thrown it away.
Oh, well, I don't know if they threw it away.
I went my jacket, and I've been trying to get something like comparable, and I've bought several jackets. This is not the same as that jacket. That was a special jacket.
absolutely. Well, someone probably has it. I don't think that went in the garbage. Like someone else is having the time of their lives, living it like a celebrity life because of that thing.
Yeah. Some rapper.
I searched online for hours over the next several years after that to find it, and I couldn't find another one like it.
Did you use like keywords Moss Man, like to Moss Jacket or anything, or?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I was saying like I'm losing my mind here seeing your name as Scott Helberg. It just to me is just say Moss Man.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care what you call me.
You're a legend either way. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
When I was we were trying to like get a guest and figure out who we wanted to have on next. I messaged Scott and or text messaged him, and I was like, hey, we're doing this SPAC chat thing. We want to talk to like guys that have been around for a while, and we're looking for some OGs. And Scott replies back, he's just like, what's an OG? And so I called him right away because I'm like, okay, this guy's definitely lost. And he's just like, are you calling me an old geezer? OG.
Yeah, well, I used to be the young guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm the old guard. I'm part of the old guard.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Yeah.
But you did a good job of like when we were just coming into things, like I was saying, like definitely someone that was giving us good advice from like a couple of different standpoints, but still would hang out with us and kind of like an ageless wonder for sure. I think, like I think you've kind of seen it all too. Like that's kind of what we're looking for is like some of the build up to how it is now from what you've seen it go from at this small little thing in the Riviera where you're hanging out on the side on the floor doing cameras to what you see today.
You got to
So first of all, SPAC is a great organization. If you're watching this, you're not part of it, you really should join up and investigate it because there's a lot of information there. All the vendors for the industry are there. You have everything you need to set you up and keep you educated is going on over there. And everybody's pretty friendly.
Yeah.
They will help you learn whatever you can. It's really probably the best organization of all the different trade shows they do outside of the school photography industry too. But I go back, like I said, I go back to the camera repair days. And when I first started meeting up the SPAC people, it was to repair cameras. And I think I got through that through Gary Kranz.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, I think one of the earliest ones I remember is like down in San Diego somewhere and kind of an outdoor tent and it was cold.
Bahia.
What's that?
The Bahia.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was pre that.
Really? Yeah. I remember the vendors used to be in like an outdoor tent. But back then we only had like 5 or 6 vendors, so it wasn't like a big type of show.
No, it wasn't very big at all. There weren't very many SPAC guys. There was 25, 35 guys. They were just, I guess that's how they started out. They were just a bunch of guys in the industry that just wanted to hang out. Yeah. And they just would meet up every year. And then it would stay that way for a little bit. And then I don't know, at some point they decided they should grow the show. So then it went from 35 to 100 to 200, and then it just blew up after that. Yeah, that was at the Riviera. It was starting to get big. Yeah, and then they moved it over to where'd they move it to?
South Point.
South Point, yeah.
Yeah, where we are now. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The tail end of Riviera is really started to get some momentum going. And everybody was repeat coming and
well, that's when they brought Corey in, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah,
and Corey had a lot to do, I think, with making the show, and she blow up. She plans it out so well. She's done an amazing job. So but that's how it started. And like, when I came in there, like they weren't friendly to me. Like I was never felt it. I wasn't a photographer, so I really wasn't one of them. I was just a vendor in the service, so they didn't really accept me. And I don't even know if they accept me anymore. Still don't accept me. But they just know me for so long. Yeah.
You just squeezed your way in now.
Well, I keep showing up, I'm
Yeah.
persistent, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I need you guys, and you guys need me. So it's
There you go. Yeah.
You know,
True partnership, right?
Huh?
True partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's been really nice. It's been a great industry. The people in it are always been good to me. They've always treated me well, and I try to do the same back to them. So
Yeah.
No, you're definitely a part of it. So yeah, no, we were just super excited to kind of chat with you as we always do and catch up with you. And
there's a lot of people calling me. They're like, "Are you still in business?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still in business. I'm going to be in business for a long time."
There you go.
Because I think because of the mirrorless cameras, they think, and obviously, it's different for me now because I'm not doing nearly as many DSLRs, but there are still a lot of guys buying DSLRs, so I'm still out there doing it. And,
awesome.
Nice. So I guess we'll be seeing you pretty soon then, hey? Same area, same setup.
I think so.
Yeah.
Head down at the front with the licorice. You're gonna mix it up?
What's that?
You gonna mix it up this year with your candy?
No, I'm gonna bring the licorice. I think I brought black licorice last year too.
Oh.
Anyone jump on that? Probably not.
No, it was the red. It was the red.
Yeah,
line.
yeah. Drop that black licorice, man. No way.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't like the black licorice, so I thought I'd give it a shot. But
Dude,
no.
yeah. People are gonna shoot with no masks, man. If you give that stuff out. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but so yeah, there was a lot of we had a lot of good times, a lot of party times, a lot of stuff that we did.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Where was that? Who did we see? With you guys? What was that crazy rap guy?
We went to Vanilla Ice together many a year ago.
Vanilla Ice. I'm like, I don't. These two guys. They're like, Scott, you can come with us. We're gonna go see who are the dancers.
The backup dancers for Vanilla Ice.
The cheerleader dancers or something. The Pussycat Dolls or something.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that the same year?
They were performing the same venue. They're like the opening act for Vanilla Ice. Yeah.
We that's right. You're like, let's go see them. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to go. They're like, oh, you got to come. I'm like, and we're gonna see Vanilla Ice. So by that time, I was old, and everybody there was young, and I'm at this. So I'm at this concert, right? And people are just like, I've been to a ton of concerts in my life. Yeah. And people are just like walking into me and pushing me out of the way. It was so rude. I was like, what's wrong with these kids? So finally I made my way to the roof. And
you had the jacket that night. That was
I think they were just touching the jacket.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they weren't running into you. They just wanted to touch it.
The good luck.
No, it's just your generation was so rude back then.
But that was a good concert. That was fun.
I don't know. I left halfway through.
Definitely old geezer for sure.
That's why you're the geezer now.
That's right, old geezer.
There you go. Well, Scott, we really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Always good to hang out, however we're hanging out, catch up, talk some stories.
All right.
Yeah. We really appreciate it for you coming on here.
Thanks for everything you do.
And again, if you haven't looked into SPAC, you really should.
There you go. Good plug.
You're watching this, and it's a good investment of your time and for your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks to you.
Thank you
for everything you did.
Stop by to see Scott at that front desk. First guy to say hi to you.
Yeah. For nothing else, get some red vines.
There you go. Awesome. There we go. All right. Thanks, T. Thanks, Scott.
Later, guys.
Talk to you guys later.